back. He had right at 200 yards on the evening and made it tough for the Dragons, and he only had like 11 carries and had a fabulous night on his end. But I thought Maddox had a pretty good night for him. 5 catches for 150 yards, right at 30 yards a catch, and did, some good things at different times, but Oak Ridge was just too much for us.
Yep. But like I said, it was a night to remember. They actually retired the number 72 jersey for former Dragon and 86 graduate Charles McCray. Of course, as you know, he played for Clinton, went on to play at the University of Tennessee, and from there, he got drafted as a first-round draft pick, 7th overall with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and actually finished his NFL career as an Oakland Raider.
And I think he played 7 or 8 years and did quite well.
Yes. But, again, that was a great night, and I just kind of want to add to this. I brought one of my friends in from Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, showed up, surprised me. I was talking to him about the rivalry, about Oak Ridge and Clinton on Thursday night. He showed up Friday and said, let's go to the game. So got to spend the weekend with a past friend of mine.
I bet that was extra special.
It was. It was great. I tell you what, he was really amazed with their facilities, and basically had the opportunity to take him over to the field house. And, we kind of was thinking the same thing. Wish we had that when we were in high school.
Exactly.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and get into running down this past week's games and a look ahead.
Well, actually, did not bring those scores with me, but I know Clinton losing badly to Oak Ridge 42-13. Powell won over Farragut, which is one of our future teams that we're playing. Also, it was Campbell County losing to Cherokee 33-0. William Blount, which is Clinton's next foe, they ended up winning this past Friday over Austin East 59-20. And West ended up losing big to Maryville. Don't have that score in front of me, but I know they lost big. I'm doing some of these just from memory from last week. Halls ended up losing their second game of the year, 24-21 to Gibbs. They're now 0-2, and they play Powell this week. They'll probably be 0-3, which thought Halls would end up having a good year, but they've got a tough schedule. The first 3 teams they played were, of course, Oak Ridge, Gibbs, and this week Powell. So, and they're a future foe of us, actually the last week of the season as a region foe, and that talks about some of our region foes. Also, South Doyle, they are, I think, already 2-0. They're doing better than expected. They'll take on Heritage this week. Campbell County will take on Carnes. That'll be a big one as well. That's 2 teams probably going to be towards the bottom in our region, but you can't never tell, people jockeying for position to start off with. Of course, this week, the Dragons take on William Blount. William Blount, by the way, the series results against William Blount, the first year, 1983, won 21-0. 1984 won 32-2. 1991 lost to them 28-21 in overtime. 1992, the year we went to the state championship, we won 50-6. 1997, we won 28-7 in the first round of the playoffs. 2021, William Blount, actually we won over them 41-23, and then in 2022 defeated them rather handily 48-0. But of course, games this week coming up, and bucket load of those. Halls versus Powell, Farragut versus Upperman, Seymour versus Cott County, Gatlinburg Pittman versus Unicoi County, Fulton versus Anderson County, Maryville versus Bearden, Hardin Valley versus Bradley Central, Alcoa versus Gibbs, Midway versus Greenback, South Doyle versus Heritage, and as I've told you about, Campbell County versus Carnes, Loudon versus Kingston, West versus Central, West having certainly some problems, Oliver Springs versus Oakdale, Bledsoe County versus Oneida, Coalfield versus Rockwood, also Oak Ridge versus Lenoir City, Sweetwater versus Tellico Plains, McMinn County versus Walker Valley, and that's pretty much the rundown we have here. Of course, William Blount coming into this is 2-0. They have defeated Loudon, which is a 4A school, 49-0, and Austin East, which is a 3A school, 59-20. But that pretty much gives you a rundown of what. Also, I thought was what rather amazing was Anderson County losing by as much as they did, 28-7, and losing their quarterback Gillum, and losing to Catholic 28-7. Catholic's awfully good, but good one.
Yep. Well, again, thank you, Walt, for the rundown. And like I said, we've got an eventful night here. We're actually going to have Max Bertram actually kind of update you on the voting polls and the top 100s. And maybe he can explain to you as the listener as to how everything is calculated. And he has done a phenomenal job this year by stepping up to doing this. So what we're going to go ahead and do, Melissa, is we're going to go ahead and take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Your project deadline is looming. You need heavy-duty equipment, fast. Dozers, excavators, forklifts, backhoes, generators, tools, and more. Coker Rental Company has it all. Locally owned and operated, we're here to support your needs. Conveniently located at 2305 Clinton Highway in Powell, across from Claxton Elementary School. Visit us online at rentcoker.com or call 865-302-3200. Coker Rental Company, your project partner. Visit rentcoker.com.
Derail your hunger in a hurry with Pizza Express. Here's Kathy with Pizza Express.
We prepare our dough every day from scratch. We make our sauce every day. We cut fresh vegetables.
Kathy, what kind of pizzas do you have?
Supreme, the meat lovers, the taco, the pepper cheddar, the sizzler, the loaded baked potato, our garden feta.
Those sound great. How about sandwiches?
We have an Italian, steak and cheese, hot ham and cheese, a barbecue sub, a chicken bacon ranch.
Sides?
We have french fries, onion rings, potato skins, potato wedges, fried mushrooms, fried pickles, and jalapeno poppers.
How about dessert?
We have chocolate cake, carrot cake, tiramisu, cheesecake, baklava.
How about prices?
We have a large 2-topping for $12.99. We also have 2 large 2-topping pizzas and breadsticks for $27.99. Or you can get 2 specialty pizzas for $38.99.
And right now, for all WYSH or Merle listeners, get 1 large up to 10-topping pizza with breadsticks for only $25 to celebrate Pizza Express's 25th year in business. Call 865-463-0011. That's 865-463-0011. Pizza Express.
Let us derail your hunger in a hurry.
Online at pizzaexpressclinton.com.
Rogers Group. Who are they?
Rogers Group is a family-owned business started in 1908 that operates in 7 states. Locally, they're in Oak Ridge and Campbell County.
Rogers Group. What do they do?
They offer high-quality products and services at competitive prices. They offer commercial and residential services, crushed stone, sand, gravel, asphalt paving, and road and bridge construction.
Rogers Group. Where are they?
250 Union Valley Road in Oak Ridge and at 429 Queener Road in Jacksboro.
Rogers Group. A local, family-owned, community-minded business.
Welcome back into the Tuesday Night Pizza Express Tuesday Night Sports Talk. Joining us in studio is our Clinton grad, Max Bertram. Hey, Max, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jasper. I appreciate that. And out just sitting out there and heard about us facing William Blount this week, and that I know that 1984 game well because I actually got in. That was our season opener in '84. I got a sack in that game, got in 2 plays, didn't see the field the rest of the season.
Oh, wow. Well, that was your claim to fame, I tell you what.
That was my claim to fame the sophomore year, yeah.
Which one of my buddies, Scott Cupp, over there at William Blount, of course, he's transferred over to CAK this year, but always great to see him down at the football field, but going to miss him this week. Again, he's over at CAK doing great things over there this year. But Max, just kind of want to get a rundown. Explain to our listener as to how this poll is worked, how it is calculated.
Yeah.
And, of course, I got your email this morning with the updates. Let us know. I didn't see how many has voted so far.
So that's an interesting question because what we've had to do, I've had to go back through looking at the data because we've had some IP addresses that had repeated for the same person. And so you had a little vote stacking, it looked like, that had gone there. So culling back through and making sure that everything was calculated accurately. As of 10:30 this morning, we had about 630 votes, something like that. And, what we've done with the way we started this out was we started with a list from a poll that was actually taken a few years ago to start the list. And then we're asking people as they were voting, any names that weren't captured on there that we could add to the list. So, I've got more, as a matter of fact. Good. So with that, it compiled until we reached a maximum that was allowed on this platform of SurveyMonkey, which is what the tool we're using. So we have 200 names on there. And from those 200 names, we are ranking everybody based on the percentage of vote. And basically, it's what percentage of people voted for that name, and then the total number of votes that they received as well. So if we want to, I can run down the top 5, or it's posted on there as well.
Well, I just want to clarify that when they go to the WYSH website or they go to the Facebook on WYSH, there is a drop-down box to where if that name is not seen on there, they can write that in. Is that correct?
They could write that in until we reach 200 names. We're at 200 names now, so we can't add any more names to the list, but we've had about over 2 weeks of people compiling names on there, and 200s. We're trying to gather those the best that we can. And with that, really, when you're looking at it, we've had 630 people voting, and when you get to the ones that are tied around that 100 place mark, they've got about 7 votes on there. So, so that the cream rises to the top, if you will. And so, our top vote getters were our top vote getters over 200 votes. So he's got over a third of all voters have placed him on that list. And what we have told people to do is try to include up to 25 people when you're voting. If they're names that you remember them playing significantly, their impact to the program, get them on there. Click that name, and hopefully we've captured a good portion of Clinton's history. And what we tried to do from that original list too, we've pulled people from the 30s, from the 20s even. We've got several players from the 40s that have contributed. It's harder for them to get votes because most people who are around now voting didn't have the opportunity to watch Clinton play football in the 40s.
Yeah.
But still, but their names, we know their names, a lot of these names, because these have been people who have contributed, and we've heard the stories passed down for years.
And of course, our generation, it's hard for us to know what they did back in the day. But I want to, first of all, say thank you to Jerry Shattuck, Dickie McGee, that was in the studio last week, running down some of that generation before us. And there was just some phenomenal stories that was told last week.
I think was it Dale Isabel caught 6 touchdowns in one game?
I think Dale has some records.
Yeah, that was a state record that stood for a long time. Yeah. And you have some of these numbers that are just phenomenal when you see them out there.
Yeah, and of course we want to welcome Coach Jimmy Gaylor is in the studio, and we'll have him on here just in a few moments. And
my offensive coordinator.
Yes. Oh yeah. And so we got some stories to share with Coach Jimmy Gaylor tonight. It's going to be very interesting, and we're going to open up the phones for phone calls, comments, suggestions, whatever that you want to make. But Max, I want to tell you thank you so much for putting this together. I think that we met up there at the Anderson County Fair this year, and I'm thinking, he volunteered, said, hey, how can I help? And I said, well, I need some bodies to count some of the ballots. He said, why don't you do it the easier way and just go online to where you can vote? And I said, hey, that's a great idea. So what I want to do, Max, is just go ahead. Let's go ahead, stop start at number 25.
Number
and work
25.
your way up.
Okay, number 25. We've got actually a tie right there. So we've got Sean Smith, Richard Witt, both have the same number of votes. And I can tell you that I remember Richard Witt playing because he played with my brother. He was a year behind him, and I remember the impact. He was just a phenomenal, just like a spark plug on the field. I loved watching him play. Above him, Terry Moore, of course, who played at Tennessee. We've got Connor Moody, the amazing David Fritz,
David C.
Oh my goodness!
Of course, I had the opportunity to see David at the Oak Ridge Clinton game this past week. So he was out there.
You hear people talking about, say, from decades ago, there's nobody I've ever seen like David Fritz. And, one of those people that I wish I'd had an opportunity to see in person. Jason Weber is on there. Of course, the great quarterback, Tony Colston, and Jerry Shattuck, who I'm so glad to hear him on here last week. He's amazing. Yak Weaver. Again, another one that played with my brother, the amazing John Miller. John, I remember that the offensive plan used to be John Miller up the left, John Miller up the right, on the right, John Miller on the middle. He could carry. He's amazing. Kimmy Weaver and Bam Weaver are right next to each other. Jason Leinert, Scotty Harrell, Tyler Thackerson, and then we get into our top 10. Jason Rhodey at 10, Jermaine Shepard at 9, Joshua Keith at 8, Terry Benjamin at 7, Darren Scarborough at 6. No, that is Darren Scarborough, Cecil. I did not misspell your name. It's the right Scarborough. Darian Stone at 5. Charles McRae, who, of course, we retired his number last week, at 4. The amazing All-American Larry Severs at 3. Weston Hazelhurst at 2. And the number 1 vote getter so far is Scotty Witt, who recently lost, and just an amazing ball player.
And it looks like Scotty's got about right at almost 34% of the votes as the number 1 vote. I think this is of the last update,
yes.
If this is correct. 211 votes. Weston's trailing with 174 votes. So you still have time. We're going to keep this poll open for the next couple weeks, and then our final 100 will be announced about the week of homecoming. So if you'd like to go, just go to WYSHradio.com. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it over to Melissa, and she is going to take it out to the 2-minute drill with Stir the Pearl Hinton on WYSH for the Pizza Express Tuesday night sports talk. East Tennessee. Yes, Stir the Pearl.
On the Vols schedule this week is East Tennessee State. The university opened in 1911 as East Tennessee State Normal School. Normal School. We'll get into that later. The name was changed several times, reflecting the school's evolving status and mission. And the university status was granted to East Tennessee State in 1963. August 1st, 2025, the East Tennessee State University ETSU football team, nicknamed the Buccaneers, competes in NCAA Division I football as a member of the Southern Conference. SoCon. That's the nickname. They got nicknames in their conference. SoCon. We just call it the SEC, the Power T, the mighty icon of the SEC. We'll get into that later. All right. The team is based in Johnson City, Tennessee. The program was discontinued in 2003 due to financial reasons, but it was reinstated in 2015. These are some of the challenges some of the smaller schools are facing right now. It's finances and, days of NIL and things that are happening. Games like this are essential for the survival of small schools. And I tell you, I do not want today to be an Appy State situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. I'm not getting into it. Go Vols. The team's official social media handle is at ETSU Football on X, formerly Twitter. Here's some more detailed information. Here's some conference information. Southern Conference, SoCon, ETSU football is there. Hey, Division I, NCAA, Division I football team. ETSU is there. Their location, Johnson City, Tennessee. Mascot, Bucky, the Buccaneer. In recent news, the team opened fall camp on Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. 9 players were named to the all preseason SoCon team. Kenyon Johnson joined the coaching staff as running backs coach. The annual Ballot Health Spring Game was held on April 11th. So the Health Spring Game, the coaching staff at ETSU today includes Brian Blackman as assistant head coach and tight ends coach. The football program was discontinued in 2003, but reinstated in 2015. That's a dirty dozen years of no football in Johnson City, Tennessee. Whoa! Again, social media. The team is active on X, formerly Twitter. In the 2025 season, the team is scheduled to play against Tennessee in Neyland Stadium, baby, September 6th, 2025. It's live. Don't miss it. You better get it. Don't miss it. It's going down. Tennessee Volunteers against the ETSU Buccaneers. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby's right. That's Sterl of the Pearl Hinton with the 2-minute drill. And, of course, joining us in the studio is Coach Jake Dawson. Well, welcome into the Sports Talk Show tonight, Jake.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Walt. Let Walt kind of give some rundowns and get your thought process on this past week's game and a look ahead.
Coach, let's talk about last week's game a little bit and what you might have learned from it and, of course, taking on the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great team. You know, I think we knew that going in. We didn't tackle as well as we needed to in the first half. We left some points on the board. You know, I think some of that you can accredit to not having our first game. You know, we were a scrimmage short and obviously not being able to play the first game. All that stuff goes into it. But it's also one of those things where we put some good stuff on tape, you know, a lot of different things. And so, you know, I'm excited we were able to put some stuff on tape going into region play, but we really missed playing that first game.
Well, sometimes you learn from mistakes, and playing such a strong foe in your first full game, that probably will help down the road.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think getting a game like that in early, and I think that does a lot in terms of team morale, you know, kind of understanding like, hey, we may not see, you know, necessarily, you know, very many fronts of that caliber again. Obviously, we see some very good teams, but I think seeing that and, you know, being able to gauge yourself kind of on a measuring stick, I think it's, you know, really good to do early.
Coach, next up, you've got the William Blount Governors, and I guess go back and I'll ask your injury situation with Benjamin, and I don't know to what degree you had anybody else injured.
Yeah, you know, we're healthy. You know, Jay will be back before too much longer. You know, obviously early in the year, you want to be very careful, especially, you know, with a kid of his caliber at that position. So we're going to make sure we do our due diligence, but we're not too banged up right now. We're very blessed to be healthy.
Coach, what do you expect from William Blount? I know they have a high-powered offense in playing 2 games, which they've scored 108 points in 2 games with Loudon and also with Austin East.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great football team. Obviously, I'm familiar with them from my stint at Heritage. Great quarterback, really well-coached team, really good tailback, pretty good up front. You know, they got some difference makers on the outside. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be in region play.
And what sort of defense do they run, and will they pass more or run more?
Yeah, defensively, I mean, they're a 3-man front a lot of times, but they show some bear, they show some over and under, a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 0. Remind me a lot schematically, defensively of Oak Ridge, in the way they want to try to create chaos with different pressures. And then offensively, it's more of it's kind of similar to Heritage, honestly. They're more pass-oriented. They do a really good job running the ball with counter and outside zone. You know, their passing stuff's a lot of quick game.
And they, of course, have played a 3A school and a 4A school. Does that diminish to you any of the fact they've scored 108 points?
No, I mean, I think anytime you score 100 points in 2 games, obviously you're very, very talented and you're very sound schematically. I think both those things are true. It really don't matter who you're playing. I think that sort of productivity shows that it really don't matter who you're playing. Efficiency is efficiency at any level.
Coach, in our particular region so far, in looking at the teams as a team stood out so far, and it's a team not doing as well as you thought they would do?
I mean, we're winless right now, so you can maybe say yes, but no, I'm excited about it. I think Powell's done a really good job. They look very, very strong. WYSH, obviously they had a tough one Friday at Maryville, but that's a great football team. We're blessed. I think 5A really runs through our region, so we have some really, really good football teams.
And one that's sort of blown my mind, and they're probably will not be favored in their game. Hall's taking on Powell. Hall's could end up 0-3 after the third week. Powell's probably somewhat favored in that one.
Yeah, I mean, and Hall's another great football team. Obviously, they've played two really good teams early in the season. You talk about two completely different styles of football, Oak Ridge and Gibbs. I think out-of-region games is always taken with a grain of salt. Now the football that really counts starts.
And, of course, most recently, you played William Blount back in 2022, won that game 48-0.
Yeah, that was, William Blount. For maybe their past hadn't always been, the Story program, but they're really coming on. It's a fantastic football program right now.
Coach Dawson, thanks very much for stopping by. Best of luck as you get ready for the Governors, and we'll be there with you cheering you on.
Thank you so much.
All right, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take a 1-minute break, and then we'll be back with our in-studio guest, our player of the week, Hunter Jenkins.
When you have a wreck, a good day can become a bad day in a hurry. But when it's time to get that car towed away, there is a number you need to know. 865-457-6927. Lowe's Tows. Did you know they work with all insurance agencies and body shops? And they can assist you throughout the whole process. Call 865-457-6927. If you need a tow, you need Lowe's Tows. 865-457-6927. They're locally owned and operated. They will tow anything, anywhere, from a Volkswagen to a semi-truck, from across the street to across the state. The stress of having a wreck is bad enough. So call Lowe's Tows, and that's one less thing you have to worry about. 614 Clinch Avenue in Clinton. Call 865-457-6927 or find them on Facebook at Lowe's Tows.
Welcome into the Tuesday night Pizza Express Tuesday night sports talk, and joining us is our player of the week, Hunter Jenkins, our interview of the week. I should say that. We are going to have to, I guess, if you're tuned into Facebook, we're going to have to deal with that beeping a little bit until I get a minute to turn that off just a little bit. But Hunter, let's go ahead, like I said, so I can adjust this. Melissa, let's go to a 1-minute break, and we'll come back here with Hunter.
Traditions, they mean a lot. We have tradition with the Clinton Dragons, and we have the tradition of Hoskins Drug Store and Soda Fountain, serving Clinton in our area since 1930. So if you need your prescription filled, or if you're just looking for breakfast, lunch, ice cream, or something from the Soda Fountain, bring your family to Hoskins and start your own tradition. 111 North Main Street in Clinton. Or you can find them online at HoskinsDrugStoreAndSodaFountain.com. Call 865-457-4340. Hoskins Drug Store and Soda Fountain in historic downtown Clinton.
Welcome back into the Tuesday night sports talk. Again, I had the beeping on the phone that I had to take care of. But hey, Hunter, welcome into tonight's show. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good. Well, Hunter, let's tell all of our listeners a little bit about you. You're a senior for Clinton High School, and you played the line.
Sure.
What number do you wear out there on the field?
55.
55. So what was preparation like for Monday for today's game to get ready for William Blount?
Watch film. For the defense, we had just went through the plays for each formations, 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and then for offense, we did just plays that we're going to be doing this whole week until Friday.
Okay. Well, you've been a senior this year. You've got, probably about, hopefully we'll get you all the way to the state. But what are your goals personally as a football player this year?
First of all, just make the playoffs, and then take it one
game at a time.
Yes, and then hopefully, and then just go to state and win that. And just for me, just have a good season since it's my senior year, and then just keep growing.
When it comes to players on the field, who is it that you communicate the most with during games?
Xander Huffman, I think so.
Okay.
Him or Jackson Wilson.
Jackson. Okay. But now, what are some of your classes that you're taking, and what do you plan to do after you graduate?
I have Spanish 2 right now again, and then I have a math class, like it's like math reasoning for like
gotcha.
Taxes and all that, and then I have a sim class for business, which I think I'm gonna do in college business. Don't know what yet, but
sounds like a CPA right now. Is what it sounds like. So
yeah. And then something that I've been thinking about is doing like a broadcast, like a sports broadcast.
Oh, okay.
But that's something maybe later.
Well, later after you graduate, contact me because we can put you to work. But by no means, of course, we've just recently got Cookie on board here with us. He does our Dragon Vision when the games are aired. But do you plan on looking at furthering your football career?
Yeah, for sure. But if not, I have different plans. But that's probably my main thing right now, football.
Let me ask you this, Hunter. What do you want our listeners to know about you? If there's something that you could tell about yourself, what would that be?
Just a great kid. I'm a hard worker at just everything I do. And that I'm just great kid.
So you believe in work ethics?
Yes, for sure.
It takes a great attitude to be out there on the field, and first and foremost, academics is definitely a key for sports. And if I can ever help you, again, the purpose of this program is anybody that's out there that's a listener that might be able to connect to him saying, hey, I'd like to help you somewhere down the road. We've seen that over the years and years that people in the community have stepped up to help former players. And I tell you what, it's just a family connection here at Clinton, and people continue to reach out and help people. So. But, hey, I want to say thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like else to say?
Not really.
Well, just, again, we want to get our listeners to get familiar with the players because all they see is when you're on the football field, people want to know what you're about. And sounds like you're going to have a bright career ahead of you after you graduate, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a 2-minute break. We'll come back. We'll have Coach Jimmy Gaylor on.
Rogers Group. Who are they?
Rogers Group is a family-owned business started in 1908 that operates in 7 states. Locally, they're in Oak Ridge and Campbell County.
Rogers Group. What do they do?
They offer high-quality products and services at competitive prices. They offer commercial and residential services, crushed stone, sand, gravel, asphalt paving, and road and bridge construction.
Rogers Group. Where are they?
250 Union Valley Road in Oak Ridge and at 429 Queener Road in Jacksboro.
Rogers Group. A local, family-owned, community-minded business.
Need a waste solution that's as flexible as you are? Look no further than Coker Waste Solutions. Whether it's a small home project or a major construction site, we've got you covered with our 15, 20, 30, and 40-yard containers. Enjoy flexible rental periods, plus convenient pickup and delivery. We're committed to making waste management hassle-free. Visit cokerwaste.com or call 865-320-0018. Coker Waste Solutions, located at 2305 Clinton Highway in Powell, across from Claxton Elementary School. cokerwaste.com.
When you have a wreck, a good day can become a bad day in a hurry. But when it's time to get that car towed away, there is a number you need to know. 865-457-6927. Lowe's Tows. Did you know they work with all insurance agencies and body shops? And they can assist you throughout the whole process. Call 865-457-6927 865-457-6927. If you need a tow, you need Lowe's Tows. 865-457-6927. They're locally owned and operated. They will tow anything, anywhere, from a Volkswagen to a semi-truck, from across the street to across the state. The stress of having a wreck is bad enough, so call Lowe's Tows, and that's one less thing you have to worry about. 614 Clinch Avenue in Clinton. Call 865-457-6927 or find them on Facebook at Lowe's Tows.
Welcome back into the Pizza Express Tuesday night sports talk, and joining us in studio is our in-studio guest tonight is Coach Jimmy Gaylor. Coach Gaylor, welcome in.
Thank you, Jasper. It's good to be here.
Well, I tell you what, playing this role here as a host for the Tuesday night sports talk, a lot of people out in the community says, hey, when are you going to get Jimmy Gaylor on? When are you going to get Jimmy Gaylor on? So we finally got you on. And, of course, it's been a couple years since you've been on to our sports talk show. I think that about 4 or 5 years ago that you came out and we had you on.
Actually, it's been a lot longer than that. That's about 8 or 9 years ago, I believe. Yeah. But it's good to be back.
Oh, good. I tell you what, I'm bad for time frames. I just can't piece the time frames together.
I can't keep up with it either.
But one of the time frames that I do remember is in '92. And that is one of our most talked about football teams in Clinton history. And you were the head coach that year. And, I'm sure that our callers are going to have a lot of questions if you're okay to take calls tonight and comment. So we want to entertain that. If you're listening on BBB Comcast Channel 12, Channel 1061 on Comcast. Our show will cut off at 7 o'clock. However, we will resume on radio. If you're anywhere in the world, you can tune to WYSHradio.com and tune in there when the TV screen goes out. So, again, we want to thank the people for joining us on Facebook as well. But, Coach Gaylor, my question is when you first started that 92 season, what was your thought process going in? And with all the talent, did you see at the first of the season that you would be state bound?
Well, it's hard to say that, but 91 was my first year as a head coach, and I had been an assistant coach at Clinton for 8 or 10 years before that. And we had started building a pretty solid program. We were really good under Coach Brown in the 80s. We had a couple of tough seasons in the late 80s, but then we kind of turned it around and started building to that 92 team. In 91, back then, only one team would go to the playoffs, and then finally 2 teams would go. And we were in there with Oak Ridge and Central, and would finish third and be really good. My first year in 91, we finished behind Oak Ridge and Central, and that year Oak Ridge and Central had one of the best games ever in the playoffs. And Oak Ridge went on and won the state that year after they beat Central. And we had gone to a bowl game and won, and so we were coming off a really good year and had – in that year, a lot of our best players or our starters were juniors. So we knew going into 92 that we had a good team. And we had a lot of really good players with a lot of experience. And I'd been the head coach the year before, so they knew what to expect from me. I knew what, their strengths were. I had a great assistant coaching staff as well. Coach Engel with the offensive line, and Coach Voskamp with the defense, Coach Toller at the secondary. I'm going to forget somebody, but I'm going to try. Coach Holbrook with the linebackers and the defensive coordinator. Coach Fragamini. Coach Stevens had left.
Okay.
So Coach Fragamini was on the staff, linebackers and running backs. Coach Holbrook was the defensive coordinator, and I actually was the offensive coordinator / head coach. And we had a lot of talent. The key to us was staying healthy, because we didn't have a lot of players on that team. We were growing the program from the freshman group the year before, but not a lot of upperclassmen, juniors, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And we stayed relatively healthy. Scotty got hurt and missed a few games in the middle of the year, but we kept him out and to make sure he was ready for the playoffs. But to answer your question, we knew we were going to be good because we were close the year before against Oak Ridge and Central, and the key game obviously was the Oak Ridge game, second game of the year, and we had a really good offense, but Oak Ridge had a really good defense, and we won that game 6-0. And I'm not going to have the exact number of times, but I'm pretty sure we stopped them inside our 20 like 3 or 4 times in that game and held on to win. And then that gave our kids confidence, and we got rolling and really had a great year.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's just a memory that you will never forget. I can remember like it was yesterday, sitting there in Nashville on a cold night. It looked like
it was cold. It was frozen.
It was like the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers playing.
That's true. Gallatin was green and gold, and we were real close to Chicago Bears uniforms. And I have a couple of stories about that year. Mike Keith just started being the play-by-play announcer at Tennessee. Last week is his first game. Of course, he had been with the Titans. He was working in Knoxville radio and television back then, and he did a bunch of our games, especially when we got to the playoffs. We were like the game of the week, and he did some of our games, and so I spoke with him a lot. I knew Mike from UT, actually. And so that's kind of an interesting side note to that season as well.
Well, I'm going to take you a little bit further back before he became an announcer over as a sports director for one of the local radio stations in Knoxville. But when Mike was going to college and he was doing communications over at the University of Tennessee, he had taken on a part-time job, and he actually got to work for me back in the day.
Oh, did he?
Yes. So
I know that.
Yes. So, Mike is a good one. We work for a company called Genesco Incorporated, which their home base is out of Nashville. So he was a good fit. I just never could get him to work. He was always reading the sports page.
Yeah, he knows his sports. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt. So what was your take on this Saturday's football game with Tennessee-Syracuse?
Well, I was there. All first games, you take away two or three things. There's obviously stuff that the coaching staff and players will be working on this week. I guess the thing that I saw that they need the most work on would be like getting off the field on third down and fourth down. Syracuse was able to convert some third and fourth downs. But our running game was really, really good, and our quarterback shows some athletic ability and a lot of poise. Of course, Syracuse is not an SEC team, so we'll have to wait and see. But very happy about the outcome of that game. Anytime you can win the first game, and I think we got one of our defensive backs hurt, so injuries are always a factor that you want to stay away from early in the year. But other than that, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shift gears with you right now. I just kind of want to mention this. I was told by somebody that you're not going to mention this, but you're being inducted into the John Overton High School Sports Hall of Fame on September 20th in Nashville. And you're one of the 2 inductees for that football introduction, and that takes place at Nashville Overton.
Yeah, that's correct. I was not going to mention it. Well, I think that one of the 2 is I'm one of 2 that is getting inducted into 2 separate sports, baseball and football.
Baseball and football.
Yeah, this is the first class that they've done, so there's quite a few that are being inducted overall in the sports. A lot of them were my teammates, and we had some good years at Overton. We never quite got to the state championship game. We lost to what some people think is one of the best Tennessee teams ever in Bristol in 1972 in the semifinals, and then we lost to Memphis Hillcrest the next year. that game was at Vanderbilt. The Bristol game was up at Bristol, and that was an experience to go up there in their castle to play. Since then, I've got to go up there and play, or have them come to play at Maryville, and we were able to beat them. But that was an experience back then. I appreciate you mentioning it, but you're right, I was not going to.
Well, I don't know if I should let you know where that source came from, but also added that back in 15 years ago, High School Football Magazine, that you ranked 4th as a leading high school coach as a defensive coach.
Well, I knew that too, but again, I'm not going to be talking about stuff like that. Those are things for credentials to talk about.
Well, I can remember like it was yesterday when you played for the University of Tennessee. Now, was you recruited by the University of Tennessee as the field goal kicker, or did you ever play any other positions in high school?
I played some other positions, but I was recruited at UT to be the punter and place kicker. I ended up just being the place kicker, handling kickoffs and field goals, extra points, all that. Tennessee's always had great kickers, so we've had punters, and the guy that was punting when I got there was Neil Claybo, who went into the pros. And then after him was Craig Colquitt, who played for the Steelers, I don't know how many years in the pros. And so I didn't make it as a punter, but there was good punters that did make it. And then I played baseball. So Tennessee was a place that recruited me football, but was going to let me play baseball. And that's one of the draws that got me there.
Well, as a kid, I can remember it might have been late fall. We were playing Kentucky. And every time that we scored, it was Jimmy Gaylor kicking it through the uprights. You kicked how many field goals during that Kentucky-Tennessee game?
Well, I kicked the best thing I did at Kentucky, even though we lost the game, was I broke the school record for the longest kick, which was 57 yards. And then later, Fuad Revez broke that at Georgia Tech, which is 60 yards. So right now I'm second. But I left there first. So unfortunately, my college career at UT was not – I wouldn't put it up there with some of the greats. I had a very strong leg. I wasn't as accurate as I would have liked to have been. And then I pitched with some guys like Rick Honeycutt and Mike Smithson that went on and played in the pros. And so I really enjoyed that part of being able to do both. And then I went into coaching. I did both as well. Coached baseball and football at Oneida. When I got to Clinton, Coach Taylor had a pretty good team, baseball team, so that wasn't available. So I coached girls softball for about 6 years. And then when I went to Maryville, one of the reasons I went to Maryville was I was going to be able to coach baseball again. And I went to Maryville as a defensive coordinator and baseball coach, and then got to coach my two sons at Maryville in baseball. And so that's kind of how everything went.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about accuracy as a football player, but do I understand correctly? You were accurate enough to win a car or a prize or something?
I thought this was going to be a more question and answer from the audience. I didn't think I was going to be questioned about my whole life.
Well, just
that's okay, Justin.
Just some highlights.
Yeah, I did win a car over there. All I'll say about that is 1985 Sugar Bowl. We went and beat Miami, and I was at that game watching. And the next year, Tennessee was trying to set a record for the most people ever at a spring game. So this kicking for a car was kind of for promotion to kind of maybe add something to that game. Plus, we'd just come off beating Miami, so everybody's fired up anyway. Oh, yeah. So there was a lot of people at that game. And all I'll say is I had a chance to early in the afternoon to kick like an extra point or maybe a 25-yard field goal. And everybody that hit that got to move to the next round, which occurred at the halftime of the orange and white game. And I was fortunate that I drew number one to get to kick it first, because whoever hit it first, the contest was over. You didn't have a kickoff or a tie or anything like that. So I was fortunate to draw number one, and I kicked the field goal and drove off with the car.
A good deal. So that's a great story. So I'll tell you what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to open the phone lines up for any callers that may have some questions or comments for Coach Gaylor. And we're going to go ahead and take a 2-minute break, and then we'll be back. And again, if you'd like to call in, the phone number is 865-457-1380.
Clinton Home Center is now a destination for Milwaukee power tools. Clinton Home Center is now a Milwaukee dealer and one of the largest in more than a 50-mile radius. Some of the tools include nail guns, sawzalls, battery-operated power tools, and more. Things like blowers, chainsaws, weed eaters, and much, much more. Stop by Clinton Home Center and check out their brand new selection of Milwaukee tools, serving our community since 1953. Stop in at Clinton Home Center, 130 J.D. Yarnell Industrial Parkway. Call 457-1593. 457-1593. Traditions, they mean a lot. We have tradition with the Clinton Dragons, and we have the tradition of Hoskins Drug Store and Soda Fountain, serving Clinton in our area since 1930. So if you need your prescription filled, or if you're just looking for breakfast, lunch, ice cream, or something from the soda fountain, bring your family to Hoskins and start your own tradition. 111 North Main Street in Clinton. Or you can find them online at HoskinsDrugStoreAndSodaFountain.com. Call 865-457-4340. Hoskins Drug Store and Soda Fountain in historic downtown Clinton.
Your project deadline is looming. You need heavy-duty equipment, fast. Dozers, excavators, forklifts, backhoes, generators, tools, and more. Coker Rental Company has it all. Locally owned and operated, we're here to support your needs. Conveniently located at 2305 Clinton Highway in Powell, across from Claxton Elementary School. Visit us online at rentcoker.com or call 865-302-3200. Coker Rental Company, your project partner. Visit rentcoker.com.
Rogers Group. Who are they?
Rogers Group is a family-owned business started in 1908 that operates in 7 states. Locally, they're in Oak Ridge and Campbell County.
Rogers Group. What do they do?
They offer high-quality products and services at competitive prices. They offer commercial and residential services, crushed stone, sand, gravel, asphalt paving, and road and bridge construction.
Rogers Group. Where are they?
250 Union Valley Road in Oak Ridge and at 429 Queener Road in Jacksboro.
Rogers Group, a local, family-owned, community-minded business.
Welcome back into the Pizza Express Tuesday Night Sports Talk. In studio here to my right is Coach Jimmy Gaylor. Hey, Coach Gaylor, this past Friday they retired Charles McCray's jersey. Is there a few things that you might be able to share what your coaching experience was with coaching Charles?
Well, Charles was a tremendous offensive lineman, and he played some defense, but mostly offense. I was an assistant when Charles was here, and I stayed on Charles a lot. I was kind of the bad guy during Coach Brown's tenure as the head coach. I was the one that would try to light a fire under some of them, and every once in a while I'd have to say something to Charles. But Charles was a great player, a great person, and went on and had a tremendous career. And it was exciting to see him go to UT because, that's where I went, and I went to all the games. So I got to see him a lot. Some of the things I remember even more than his offensive line skills at UT was his first few years he was on the defensive side of the ball. Coach Donahue is the guy that recruited him from UT, and Coach Donahue was the defensive coordinator. And I remember going up to Kentucky, and we beat them thanks to some goal line stands that Charles was on that defense up front against Kentucky. And there's nothing but good things to say about Charles. I see him every once in a while. We have a Letterman's Club. We have a Letterman's Club at UT that we go to before the games a lot of times, and I've seen Charles there a few times. And he's got a big family, and one of the good guys.
Well, it was great to see Charles out there. But I'm going to go ahead. We got a caller online, so we'll go ahead and take it to the caller. Okay, caller, who am I talking to tonight?
You're talking to Mike Dog Boss Hendricks.
Hey, Mike, what's your question or comment tonight?
Well, if it's all right, can I ask Coach Gaylor 2 or 3 questions?
Sure.
Okay, then. The first one I wanted to ask, when you was Coach Gaylor, when you was winning all them state championships at Maryville, I've been racking my brain, and I can't remember who the head coach was on those teams when y'all were winning all that.
Well, it's George Quarles.
Do you have any contact with him now? You still associate with him?
I mean, I talk to him every once in a while. I don't see him much because he left Maryville a couple, 3 years after I retired. He went back to Furman, which is where he played ball at, and was the assistant coach there and became their offensive coordinator. And then he took Randy Sanders' place at East Tennessee State. Didn't fare so well there. And now he's actually an assistant coach at Austin Peay. And I saw where they won this week. Somebody I know, I can't remember now who it was. I saw it on Facebook. Somebody that I have that I'll have to check on that I'm familiar with plays for Austin Peay, and that's how I saw that they had won. But he's a great coach, good offensive mind. Let the coaches coach, their position. And I was the defensive coordinator at Maryville, and we talked back and forth on both sides of the ball. But he pretty much did the offense, and I was pretty much in charge of the defense, and we got along well.
But I'm just gonna say he seemed like a real. Listening to him on TV, he was like a real humble guy there, but I didn't know if he was a-hole when you was coaching under, or if he was just a good guy.
No, he's a good guy, a good Christian. Actually went to church together for part of the time, and then he went somewhere else. And his offensive line coach, David Ellis, is actually my Sunday school teacher since I've been at Maryville, and still is my Sunday school teacher.
Oh, okay. Well,
we had a really good staff at Maryville.
When you were the place kicker there, Coach, at UT, the older I get, the less I can remember there. But who was your head coach then?
Bill Battle was my head coach for 3 of the years, and then I was with Johnny Majors for 1 year.
Oh, okay. That's good. And now
that's not in day difference right there.
I do appreciate you bringing up some of your assistant coaches that played with you when you were. And by the way, I think you're probably, if not the best, one of the best coaches that ever played at Clinton, or coached at Clinton.
Well, I appreciate that, but I had a lot of help. I had a lot of good players over the years, and a lot of good assistants. We stuck together. I had very little turnover on my staff, and I think Maryville's really been good because they have very little turnover on their staff.